Hello everyone and welcome back. Let's answer some questions. First comment, not question, comes from Ghost, and he says, "Please heart me." At first I didn't know what he was talking about. But then Titanium Man was kind enough to heart him, and so did I. So you are hearted. Ghost says he's my biggest fan. Thank you, Ghost. I actually checked out your channel, Ghost. It's actually pretty darn cool. He's a young boy, plays with car audio gear. Gotta love that. First question comes from Eric Dudley. Thank you, Eric. And he asks, where do you like your tweeters mounted? Sail panel, A-pillar, or down low by the mid? Well, Eric, the stock answer will be sail panel. There's a lot of variables involved though. If you don't have great time correction, then sail panel is probably one of the worst spots just because the time correction is the furthest off. The reason I generally don't like tweeters in the A-pillar is because most of the time the factory locations are pointed at the glass, and I'm definitely not a fan of off the glass, because even if you have your tweeter in polarity, it's going to change the phase once it reflects off the glass. Plus it's also a little harsher in my opinion. If you can get it up by the A-pillar but directed in the proper direction, that's actually better than the sail panel, just because the fact that it's a little further away, a little easier to time correct in my opinion. Down by the mid is actually great too, as long as you're using like a point source speaker, something like a Morel Integra style or a Miele Pro Coax. If you can do those in the kicks and you sit low enough in the car that you don't block them with your knees and that kind of stuff, then that's a fantastic spot too. But stock answer is going to be sail panel. Next question comes from GeoCow. Thank you, GeoCow. In your opinion, what's a better thin sub when it comes to TW5, TW3, TW1? My favorite of the bunch is the JL10 TW3. Out of all of them, I think it is the best. The most output is going to come from the TW5. It is the largest driver. But the 10 TW3 actually has almost the same linear excursion as a Dub 6. I think that's amazing. Box size is obviously smaller. Location fitment is better. So yeah, 10 TW3 is all the way for me. Next question, and it comes from Bobby Burkett. So what's the difference between dual 1 ohm, dual 2 ohm, dual 4 ohm, and shallow and regular mount subwoofers? Well, as far as the impedance difference goes between dual 1 ohm, dual 2 ohm, and dual 4 ohm, it really was designed for application for us, ease of use. Generally, they do take more power. I think it's just because there's 2 coils. But realistically, it's for ease of use. If I need 2 woofers to get to X impedance, one way or another, with having those 3, you can get to almost any impedance design you need, whether it be 1 sub, 2 sub, whatever. Thin mount versus full-size chassis. When they first came out, it was literally just to have it in a shallow enclosure. Vehicles are kind of going that way where we need the shallow woofers. Nowadays, most manufacturers, their thin mount are just as good as their standard mounts. Actually, referring back to the TW3, the TW3 actually has more performance than the regular W3. But for most part, it's just based nowadays on how thin the box needs to be. Thank you, Bobby. L Fernandez 919 says, I like JL, but the price not really. I get that, but bottom line, you gotta look at it like this. This amp might do 500 watts and this amp might do 500 watts, but this one, aka JL, does cost considerably more. The biggest difference though is you gotta look at it like a car. This car might go 180 miles an hour and this car might go 180 miles an hour. This one's, say, I don't know, a Dodge Demon and this is a Ferrari. They both will kind of do the same thing, but this one's still a Ferrari and it's gonna do it better. That's my opinion on the matter. This one, yeah, it'll go 180 miles an hour and so will this one, but this one also can handle and sound, you know, you gotta look at that route. Total harmonic distortion, that kind of jazz. JL spends a lot of time designing their amps. I think they do a fantastic job, but that's why they cost more. Next question's from Will Addington. Have you ever worked on a 2013 Honda Civic, trying to keep the factory radio get good signal to have really good sounding system? Currently have an LC6i to get towards that. I also do not have any tuning equipment outside my ears. As a bonus, can you show or say how to tune an LOC, then the amp? Of course, I worked on a 2013 Honda Civic. I worked on most every car up until 2018. I don't do a lot of stuff in the bay anymore, but 13 I was in it full bore. You already have a LC6i. Not my favorite product on the planet, but it's still a very fully functional one. I don't know if you're factory amplified or not. If you are not a factory amplified, then yeah, use the LC6i for sure. If you are factory amplified, I'm pretty sure you have a variable low-level signal input into that amplifier. I would find the signal before that part. That being said, LC6i is easy to tune. It has a, I think they call it a maximized light or whatever. Essentially, it's a clipping indicator. All you got to do is play your test tones. You can get those online. You go to dnftooldrawer.com. They actually have it there. Get your test tones, play your negative 5 dB, 1K, and 40 hertz. Adjust your gains until that light comes on, crack it back, and you're done. Your LOC is now tuned. As far as tuning the rest of it, you're going to still use those tracks. Once you get your speakers in and your amp in, gain it back down, play your negative 5, 40 hertz, turn it up, and listen very carefully. As you go up, the sound of the subwoofer, when it starts to clip, you can actually hear it. So just turn it up until you hear it, crack it back. Once the weird sounding sound is gone that you'll hear, then you're good. Do the same thing with 1K. Turn it up, listen to your mids. When it sounds a little funky, crack it back. That's my recommendation if you don't have any tuning products of any kind. Next question. The Alpine ILX W650 seems like a great value. What other heads would you consider to be its competitors? Well, this is one of those things. It's the stupid race to zero. How many features can I get for as cheap as humanly possible? Bottom line is, it's a budget piece. It's direct competitors. It's going to be hard to say what Pioneer's going to come out with this year as far as budget products. They like to keep up with the Joneses and go as cheap as chips. I know Sony makes one. I don't carry Sony, but I know Sony has an Apple CarPlay Android Auto deck at $299. That would probably be a direct competitor. Right now we have the Pioneer MVH AV251BT, and that would be definitely a direct competitor. But realistically, spend a couple $100 more in my opinion. You're going to get so much more for your money audio-wise versus the Alpine. But thank you for the question. Next question from Reggie. Reggie did the last one. Reggie's doing this one. What is your current vehicle setup, and do you have any plans to upgrade? And which harnesses do you prefer to use and why? My current vehicle setup, for you that don't know, I have a 2005 Scion XP. I've had it since 2007. I have two pair of Oz Audio 5 1/4 components up front. I have a kick panels for one setup, factory locations in the other setup. Every single speaker, even in the doors, is pitched towards me. The dash is flat here. They are also pitched towards me. I have modified it. I want it all directing inward to the cab. I don't want it off glass. I don't want it to play to my feet. I have had high energies in there. I've had energies in there. I've had you name it, and I've always gone back to the Oz. They have the most amazing tweeter I've probably ever heard, other than, of course, like the Morel Piccolo tweeter, which smashes it, but doesn't come from a $2,500 set of components. So that's what I have there. I have a Clarion amplifier. Don't ask me the model number. I've had it for too long. It is one of two models of Clarion amplifiers that was designed by Zapco. It is an AB amplifier. I have a tough time taking it out because I know it sounds amazing. For subs, I've had lots of subs. I started with an Oz initially. I had the opportunity to sell it for 3 times what I paid for it, so I sold it. Makes sense. I put an Alpine in there. I couldn't stand it. I had a JBL woofer in there for a short period of time. I took some concrete home. It was covering the box because mine's built into the floor, and I didn't realize it. I was wondering why I had no bass, so I turned it up and thought I ruined the woofer. Ended up cutting this around like a dum-dum. Found out the spider had just come unglued. I could have just reglued and been done, but whatever, bygones. But right now, I just have a cheapo power bass in there. I don't think I'm going to do anything else with this car. I may rebuild the enclosure. I may upgrade amplifiers at some point. Speaker wise, I don't think I'll do anything. The entire car is sound deadened front to back. The only thing that's not done is the roof, and I should have done that. But it's to the point where I've had the car for so long, I'm ready to move on to a new car. That'll probably be in the next year or two. I don't know what I want to get yet. I really want a wagon, but the only people who make wagons anymore is European cars, and I think they suck to work on and they tend to break. And when they do break, they cost too much money to repair. But that'll probably get Focal Flax. Once again, I am cheap, a little cheap. That'll end up with either usually XD or VXI amplifiers based on this time frame. Granted, in 2 years, who knows? And I don't know about the sub yet. It'll either end up with a JL product or a Focal product. Realistically speaking, I think I might want to do a K2 style sub. On the fence. All depends on how much power I put in the next car. The one thing that I will spend a crap ton of money on is sound deadening materials. More than likely what I get is not going to be European, so it won't be very well sound deadened to begin with. It'll be something that gets great gas mileage and is a rolling tin can. But I will fix that. As far as harnesses go, the basic ones, the Beskit, the Metra, and the Scosche, they're all fine. They all work exactly the same in my opinion. As far as digital harnesses go, I either prefer PAC or my favorite is the Maestro product. Alright guys, thank you for the great questions. We will do this again in probably a month or so. Hopefully I'll get some other videos out. Work's been kind of busy. I haven't had a lot of time, but that's really no excuse. That's my fault. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, have a great day.